welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. This is your coach, Coach Malcolm, and today we got Coach Konrad with us this time around. He's able to join us this time around. Last week we had Coach Walker, who was a special guest for Coach's Corner, but today, same old crew, same old guys. Hopefully next time around we'll be able to get Coach Jamal back in here so we can get a full family experience on Coach's Corner once again. But Coach, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great, man. Great things going on at work. We just had a ribbon cutting ceremony at work today for our new gym.
Yeah.
So I mean that was dope. Uh, Mayor came out, a couple of big names in the village came out. It was a cool event, and we had some basketball players playing at it. So that was interesting because I wasn't informed. They told me the day before that, oh yeah, we're gonna have the 10 high schoolers playing basketball, and they just so happened to like all be a part of the team last year. So I don't know what their message was with that, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun to
They
watch.
just randomly decided to just let players just open up the
I'm
gym and
assuming
play.
it was a AD decision because girls volleyball also was playing their own game on the other side, on the other court. So
Okay.
I guess they just wanted to do a little scrimmage during the grand opening. So I mean, but overall, day was good, week was good. I'm happy to be back. Obviously, I couldn't be here last week. I was out of town, so couldn't really hop on or find time. But glad to be here today. How are you doing, Coach? How was your week?
I'm doing all right. My week was pretty busy. Had a lot of things going on, but it's coming to a conclusion this Saturday once we get to our first day of tryouts for the varsity basketball team. So this week will conclude with that open practice and that tryout, and then once that's over, I'll finally be able to sit down for a little bit, hopefully. But we'll see. Who
Hopefully.
knows? Who knows? All right, but let's get into it, Coach. Let's start off with week five. Week five of the NFL. We had a plethora of games that were played. Our Bears were obviously on a bye week, so we didn't necessarily get a chance to watch them, but there were still some good games. We had Minnesota playing against Cleveland. We had Dallas playing against the Jets. New York losing to the Saints, which was interesting a little bit. I didn't see that happening. And then we had the Colts still rolling, beating the Las
Oh,
Vegas Raiders. Wow. You had the Broncos pulling out a win against Philly. You had Houston beating up on Baltimore without Lamar Jackson. So obviously, I guess you can kind of count that as like a rubber win. It's not really a full win because you didn't play Lamar.
sure.
But it's a win nonetheless. But were there any shocks or surprises to you this time around for week five?
Yeah, I mean the Saints kind of played a pretty complete football game. Spencer Rattler actually looks pretty decent. He's been kind of improving week to week, so I'm sure that's pretty encouraging for Saints fans because
Yeah.
they thought they were going to find themselves a rabbit hole of trying to draft their next franchise quarterback, but who knows? Maybe their guy is in the building right now. Maybe that is Spencer Rattler. I will say for the Cowboys, it was I'm sure it was nice for them to find themselves back in the win column and putting up
Yes.
some points.
Yes.
Um, Granted, the Jets haven't been the best team this year. I think
No, I
that's
think they're still
also
the only winless team, but it's because their defense is terrible.
yeah, and I mean, just a lot of different aspects. When we talk about bringing in a new head coach that hasn't been a head coach before, it takes a while to establish identity, and I think that's somewhat of a power struggle we're seeing in New York with the Jets and Aaron Glenn. So, no doubt in my mind they could turn that around. They have the skill players there. I think Justin Fields is definitely still capable of leading that team and all of some of
I
the
mean,
skill players that they do
he's been
have.
playing well. The defense has just been bad. Their
Yeah,
defense has
I've
not been
I've
able
seen
to.
I've seen the arguments with Justin Fields. I
Yeah.
believe he's been playing pretty decent for what is available to him. Some have argued that his stats are coming in garbage time. I believe that as long as there's another team on the other side of the field, you still have to play football at the end of the day, or it's going to be 80-0. So that's my thought process on that. But yeah, just my last one. Texans putting BTA to the Ravens. Surprising if you were to ask me at the beginning of the year. Asking me now, not so much. The Ravens are they're missing out on their seven highest paid players on the roster. They're all injured. So It just makes sense that this football club is not performing up to scale.
Yeah.
That's not surprising at all, and it sucks. I think they're having themselves a 49ers type of year, like the 49ers had last year. But people are trying to say that maybe this is the time where the Ravens kind of get into their divorce cycle of some of their skill players, maybe the coach. I don't know.
Nah,
I wouldn't
nah, I
want
don't.
to make those conclusions, but I've heard them.
Yeah, I
So,
don't. I wouldn't necessarily say that should happen. I would more so chalk it up to the fact that, like you said, the injuries are happening. Lamar is hurt. That's a big part of this. Um, the defensive coordinator seems to be a little, fresh with what he's trying to do and what he's trying to implement a little bit. So I think there are just some things that you just kind of can't overcome in professional sports when you don't have some of your best players playing. It's kind of difficult for you to beat anybody. No matter how deep your roster is, the reason why your guys are at first string, they're first string for a reason. So if you're missing some of them, it makes it very, very difficult for you to compete at a high level, especially against teams that have their guys out there playing. So I think that's really what they're suffering from. So anybody
yeah.
that's suggesting the idea of that they need to break up the party or that they need to, move on from some guys or even the coach needs to be fired, that's asinine. Like
Yeah,
they're
no,
saying
I'm with
there's
you on that for
yeah,
sure.
that's just completely ridiculous. Like, I mean, you got to be realistic. It'd be one thing if everybody was healthy on the roster and they were completely underperforming, but that's not the case. They have a lot of issues going on, and so if they can get healthy somewhere down the line within the season, their division is still one that they can squeeze out of, potentially even overtake. I don't necessarily think anybody in their particular division is just such a powerhouse that they won't have a chance to be able to fight for that division come the end of the regular season. But we'll see. Time will tell. I just think people need to pump the brakes a little bit, and give a little bit of grace to the fact that they're hurt. I mean, when you're hurt, you're hurt, and there's not much you can really do about it. All you can really do is just kind of give your best and see what the guys can make out of it in situations like this. But that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
just to add on really quickly to this Ravens situation, it's kind of comparable to what happened with the Lions defense last year where they had like 12 players on IR. It's like a whole lineup just out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not the whole starters. They still had some starters, but it was multiple depth guys at certain
Yeah.
positions. So, I mean, it's a little bit different because with the Ravens, it's like literally their top whatever amount players that are being paid
Are gone.
they
Yeah.
are out. You know what I mean? Like that is a huge deal. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm with you. No doubt in my mind. I think they just need to come back whenever the guys are able to come back. Don't
Right.
rush back into this season. Really try to prioritize, maybe maximizing on some momentum going into next season.
Definitely. All right, that was week 5. Let's move on to another subject. Let's talk about New York real quick about the Giants.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talked about the Jets, but let's talk about the Giants a little bit. Let's dive into them. So, this season started a little tumultuous. Russell Wilson was the quarterback, and things wasn't looking too well. Things wasn't looking too bright with him at the helm. You can argue that maybe he was a problem. You can argue that maybe just things wasn't clicking. I think this Giants defense over the past couple of weeks has started to, turn a little bit, click a little bit, and they're starting to show a little bit more ferociousness and a little bit more of what they invested in the offseason when it comes down to the key acquisitions that they made. And I think it's starting to finally click for them defensively, and that's why they've been able to make some turns and win some games. But Jackson Dart has replaced Russell Wilson. And at the time, we were considering, when it first happened, whether or not it was a good idea for this move to be made. And I guess the argument can be made that it was the right thing to do. The New York Giants have become, what, 2-1 under his watch.
Yeah.
So under his watch so far, he has a winning record. Obviously, Brian Daboll, I'm pretty sure, is, thanking his lucky stars and did all his Hail Marys, and I'm pretty sure has confessed all of his sins. And so much grace the fact that Jackson has been able to do what he has been doing, because had it went left and went wrong or went extremely bad, there's a conversation that could have been had that maybe Brian Daboll would have been fired by now. And obviously, if he would have been out the door, then there's a good chance that the GM would have been on his way probably towards the end of the season. So with that being said, Action Jackson, are we super shocked? Are we excited about it? Is it something that we just should monitor and see how it goes for the rest of the season? Or is there really something special there and we're just watching it in real time? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this, like ever since he stepped foot onto the field, it definitely appears that he has just a certain type of spark to his play. He's a very versatile quarterback. He could get it done both on his legs,
Right.
through his arm. It is a treat to watch him. I'm super excited for the kid. I liked him coming out of college. I thought he was a very unique and exciting player to watch. Did I think that style of play was going to be able to translate to the NFL? I wasn't so sure of that, but right now he's showing very capable of it. I think he needs to start sliding a little bit more so he doesn't get injured. But regardless, he's playing good football. And it might not be necessarily the most insane stat lines. Like if we just look at the game against the Eagles, one
Right.
passing touchdown, over 200 passing yards, nothing crazy, 60 something yards using his legs and a rushing touchdown. Like it's just a solid brand of football, and he's not turning the ball over, I think was a big thing in that game. But I mean, if you look at it, man, I'm the type of guy that has always said I'm patient. I need to see more. I need to see more. I need to have multiple weeks of analysis. I think the way defenses game plan on 3 games worth of film versus 7 is completely different. I think there's a lot more adjustments that teams are able to make after having more film. So,
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
but I also don't want to discredit Jackson because I think regardless, he really stepped into a tough position. Um, Coming into that game against the Chargers and
Hmm.
winning that game, that was a really big cojones win for them. That 21-18
Right,
win.
right, right.
Obviously, they followed it with the loss to the Saints, which was a little bit like, okay, maybe we do have to start pumping the brakes, but they played some tremendous football last night on primetime football, and let me tell you, that connection between Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo is one to be cherished because I wish I had that in my franchise. Like I wish I had two guys that were just so in love, you could call it, right? Like they're just so buddy buddy with each other, and it's cool to see, and I'm happy for both of them. And for Giants fans, I'm sure it's something to finally look forward to, as they definitely thought this franchise did not have a direction.
Yeah. I think what Jackson Dart is providing is a little electricity to the team. Um, that excitement just kind of gets people going a little bit, pumps people up, gets them amped up, and I don't know how long it lasts. I guess the effect of the Jackson Dart experience. I'm interested to see how long it lasts. Like once film gets really put on him, once people understand like where it is that he's comfortable throwing and where it is that he isn't comfortable throwing, and how to take certain things away from him. What he does then, it seems like if you're able to start taking those things away, then he'll definitely turn into a runner. And I'll be very interested in seeing how the media decides to cover Jackson Dart if he starts running a lot. Will he become a running quarterback, or will he just be a guy that doesn't have a good offensive line? So I
Sure.
would I would really love to see how they report on him and his lack of ability to still make the throws and things like that. But he hasn't been lighting up the games with his passing. It's been a very balanced feel from him of being able to get
It's
out the
very dual
pocket
threat, very
from
dual
yeah,
threat.
yeah, very, very high level dual threat type of situation. So it's not like he's just been in the pocket just throwing the rock around and getting it downfield. I mean, I think not having Malik Neighbors will come to bite them uh going more into the season. But I think at the end of the day, what you wanted was a spark. What you had with Russell wasn't working. It wasn't giving the team any type of excitement. So Jackson brings excitement along with Scatterboo. How long it lasts, I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Am I thinking that we're gonna look up and we're gonna see the Giants at, I don't know, finishing with a record of 11-6 or 10-7 or something like that? I doubt it.
Mhm.
I don't think so. As they still have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
So I don't. I'm not seeing it, but I do think I will say this though. I do think that Jackson Dart coming in and doing the things that he has done, I think he has saved Brian Daboll and the GM's jobs. That I will say. I think his showing and showcasing of what he can do proves that Brian Daboll and the GM were a little bit right about how they, I guess, scouted him and perceived him, bringing him in and deciding to go with him over Shador or whoever else they thought, was worthy of being a quarterback at the time, but picking him over everybody else. I think what he's done has warranted the owner to kind of be like, okay, I guess I'm not working with complete idiots.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like they don't know exactly what they're doing. So because it looks like, this kid may work out and pan out, I think he has kind of revitalized things and kind of saved their job. So kudos to him for that. Hopefully he can continue this for the rest of the season. But I would definitely be on the lookout to see if things start to go a little awry and he's not really winning games and the throwing percentage is not high and the passing yardage is not the same and he's just running around. I would definitely like to see how they cover the Jackson Dart experience in comparison to other quarterbacks and how they've covered them. But
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see. But let's continue to talk about a little bit more football. Let's pivot to another team that kind of is still surprising me a little bit by how they're struggling, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hmm.
I don't know exactly what's wrong with them and what's happening with them and what's causing them to still kind of struggle the way that they are. I kind of thought that they would have turned things around by now and kind of showed that Super Bowl fortitude, but it doesn't seem like they have it this season. It seems like this season is more challenging than it has been than any other seasons I've seen with the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid connection. I think Travis Kelsey should retire after this year. I think Chris Jones potentially should retire after this year. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are in a place where if they don't win the Super Bowl this season, there's a lot of guys that they should consider trading and getting off the books and kind of starting fresh a little bit. Maybe even restructuring Patrick Mahomes' contract again to open up more cap space and trying to reload because the team that they have now clearly doesn't have what it takes to be a Super Bowl winning team. And I could be calling this early on and I could be, shown to be a fool if they win the Super Bowl towards the end of the year. I'm pretty sure people will clip this up, especially some of our fans who love to clip me up all the time and talk about how I'm always wrong. But if um if they win a Super Bowl, cool. But I don't see it. I don't see it. So I don't know exactly. I can't put my thumb on what exactly is causing the Chiefs to be struggling so much. Sometimes it seems like it's offensive miscues between Patrick and some of his receivers. Other times it feels like the defense is just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sometimes, I mean, obviously, this last game that they lost to Jacksonville, Andy Reid called out Chris Jones for not giving maximum effort to try to stop Trevor Lawrence on that goal line run. So I mean, like, we have a lot of things all at once going on. The defense is not holding up his bargain. The offense technically isn't holding up his bargain. Questions about effort, questions about whether or not guys still have it, in them if they got enough gas in the tank left. You're depending on some of the old guys right now to kind of be the ones to still be the stars of yesterday's season, and it seems like they can't really live up to the bill anymore. So, what's your thoughts? Why are the Chiefs struggling, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a really big lack of focus in that building. I just don't think they're in the same mindset where they were just a year or two ago. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think this team is as hungry as they once were. Um, I think we can see that from everybody. I think we see that from Mahomes. I think we see that definitely from Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
Even Chris Jones, one of those guys that we've known to be an effort player, and for a guy that just causes havoc on the defensive end, it looks like, Father Time's catching up to him type of thing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
I'm definitely with you. Like, yeah, I think for the Chiefs, it's like if you're not going to compete for a Super Bowl, then I mean, I definitely see some of these guys retiring soon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Jones started making his way out. It was hinted at that he might do it this year, right? Like going into this season, that
Yeah, he
he
got
was
a new
considering
contract this
retirement.
offseason, right?
I believe so. Yeah. So I mean, granted, he's still looking to play football, but I think it was a 1 year extension.
Or
Maybe you'll
two,
be able
it
to
was like
double
a
check
one
me
year,
on
or it
that.
was either a 1 or 2 year. It wasn't nothing like crazy or nothing like
Yeah,
that.
so and I know Travis Kelsey, it's a similar situation where I mean, I'm sure, at his age, the position that he plays, there's not that many years left of him playing. So
No.
it really does just leave Patrick Mahomes and some of these younger guys that they've acquired. Like I really like Josh Simmons, the tackle that they drafted in this last year's
Yeah.
draft from Ohio State. I think he's going to be a star in this league. So, granted the draft positions that the Chiefs have been in have definitely been on the lower side. They've always been towards the tail end of the first round, but
Yeah.
they've been able to find talent in those picks. So, I think that's very encouraging if you're a Chiefs fan moving forward because I think your franchise has shown you that even though the lack of like a really good draft position, they are still drafting very good talent and very
Yeah.
good
Yeah, they're
position,
doing their
like very
job
good
in the scouting
value at
department.
those picks. Like
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy was another guy like a year or two ago where they took him and everyone was like, "Oh my God, how did they get him at the end of the first round? Like
Right,
that's
right.
insane." So I think there's still some things to look forward to for the Chiefs. I don't think it's Super Bowl though. I know me and you were both like, I
I'm right
gotta
there with you.
see.
I'm right there with you. I don't disagree. I'm right there with
And
you.
like my thing is last year kind of felt like the same thing at the beginning of the year, and then they
And then they
really
made
started
it.
to pick it up. So maybe it's a similar case. I'm pretty sure they were on a bye this last week as well. No, or did they play? They played Jacksonville this
They
last
played
week.
Jacksonville this last week, so I
So
don't
I
know when their
mean,
bye is. Maybe they're on
yeah.
a bye this week, I think,
Yeah,
but
I'll have to take a look at that,
yeah.
but I know this team definitely needs a bye week soon. And when they do get it, I would not be surprised if they started playing a way better brand of football coming out of that bye week because that's what they've shown to do in the past. Um, I feel like Kansas City hasn't been a regular season team for quite some time now. I know they were
Yeah.
14-3 in like their prime years, you could call it. When I'm pretty sure, Pat Mahomes was first trying to battle it out with Tom Brady, but
Yeah.
now I feel like in the recent years and their success, they're always looking around like a 10-7 record, 11-6. It's not
Yeah,
anything
it seems like they
spectacular,
just say let's just get to the playoffs.
Yeah, and then, let's see what we could do in the playoffs type of
Yeah.
thing. So, yeah, I mean, they have a really tough matchup coming up this Sunday. They're playing the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football. So, no
So
joke
I
to be
think it's a
had there.
rematch, right? Because then they played Detroit already this season.
No, I
They
don't
haven't
think that
played
would
them
have been.
yet. I thought they played them once this season. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, yeah, they haven't played them yet. They've played
Okay.
the Eagles, in which they barely lost that one. Barely
Yeah.
lost to the Chargers in week one. Of course, they won against the Giants in that game. Put BCA to the Ravens. Of
Right.
course, that was the game that Lamar Jackson went down, and then took that loss to the Jaguars. Which, by the way, they've been playing a great brand of football. How about that, huh? Liam Cohen steps in, and some of those draft picks, and
Well,
they're playing good football.
it's about time. Trevor has been in the league long enough to
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
blossom. So I mean, like it could just be, the learning curve for Trevor Lawrence probably has finally, hit his stride and the game has finally slowed down for him. The thing about Trevor that we always knew was that he had the talent. It was just a matter of whether or not he could master the NFL level of play. And it looked
Hmm.
like it was a struggle for a long period of time. Jacksonville was still struggling. He was still iffy at the quarterback position. He was still making bad decisions. Sometimes he was getting hurt. So it was a lot going on, but it seems like it finally clicked. Like everything has finally just slowed down and he's seeing the game the way that he needs to see it and his talent is just doing the rest. So kudos to him, but sticking on Kansas City, I think for
Hmm.
them, I do think that they're suffering from the fact that they feel that they can just come into the playoffs and do what Kansas City does, which is beat teams that they're not supposed to beat, quote unquote,
Hmm.
based upon the record. And I think they're holding on to that ability to kind of like turn it up a notch when it comes down to crunch time. I just don't think that they have that same oomph to do it this time around. Like something is really missing in this team. I don't know what the ingredient is. I don't know if they need to make a trade. I feel like a part of me feels like they need to make a deal. Like they need to make a trade for a Max Crosby or somebody like that, a Trey Hendrickson, somebody to add to that defensive line to give them a little bit of electricity. Because right now they're just banking on Chris Jones to be like the monster
Yeah.
in the middle, and they need more help. they got Xavier Worthy back, and he's definitely has sparked the Kansas City offense and allowed them to look a little bit better than what they were without him. But that defense needs a little bit more electricity to it. It needs something added to it to help them feel like they have more of a fighting chance and getting that energy. The same thing, like I said about Jackson Dart, it's like that electricity that was added to the team of knowing they got this crazy athletic quarterback that can do some wild stuff out there, and now you're like, let's go ball type of thing. So I think that's what Kansas City is missing. They have a locker room full of guys that's been hearing the same message, the same conversations, the same tone, the same coaches. They need new energy. And I don't know where it's gonna come from. I don't think it can't come from Patrick because they've heard Patrick. Can't come from Travis. They've already heard Travis. They've already heard Andy. They've already heard Chris Jones. They need somebody new that can come in and with a chip on their shoulder to try to prove that they can be a piece to a championship team, but also somebody that's respected enough to be able to, rah, 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 and get in guys' faces and hold people accountable. They're missing that. They need that type of energy added to their team, and in my opinion, if they don't get it, I don't see them being able to get to the Super Bowl. They may not even get to the conference championship like they customarily do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to correct one of the things I I said about Kansas City not being a regular season team. I will say last year they went 15-2. So let me correct myself right now because I don't want to get any shade on the internet. But I mean, the year before that, 11-6. 2 years prior to
I
that
think when
season,
you say
12
they're
and
not a
5. So
regular,
it's
I
like,
think when you say they're not a regular season team, I think it's more so like during a regular season, especially I think last season they were winning a lot of games by the skin of their teeth. Right? Remember we kept saying like
yeah,
they were just pulling out games and that's why they were winning and we kept wondering like when were they finally going to get to a point where they were showing the consistency of being able to just beat teams. Now
exactly. Like
this
they
season,
weren't putting up an insane amount of points like
yeah,
we're
nothing.
used to
It
them
wasn't like that. They
seeing.
were
Yeah,
just
yeah,
literally
yeah.
winning games in the last minutes. Now this season is the complete opposite. They're losing games in the last minutes. And the waning minutes of a lot of games, they've lost them. They haven't been able to pull them out. The games that they've completely won have been blowouts, right? The games that they've won has been them completely putting BTA.
Yeah,
The games that have been close, they've lost them in the
yeah.
last
Very
minutes.
true. Yeah.
So that was the difference between last season and this season. Last season we kept saying like, "Oh my God, when are they finally going to lose?" Because
Yeah.
they
I mean
keep
they
winning.
they they were 11-1 at
Yeah,
some
because
point. Like it
they
was
just kept
crazy.
winning games by the like I said by the literally the hair on their necks. They kept winning games. But this season is the completely opposite. This season, when they're in close games, it seems like they can't finish, and other teams are figuring out how to capitalize on a moment. And it seems like that's what the issue is right now for Kansas City. They can't close games. The defense needs electricity and some type of energy to get them going and invigorate them. And then the offense needs to be held a little bit more accountable to finish games and finish drives and not get crazy penalties and not let stupid mistakes cause them from not being in scoring position. And Patrick Mahomes also needs to be a little bit more careful with the football.
Yes, he's gotten a
Um,
little bit reckless.
he's been a little bit reckless the last couple weeks. And it seems like season by season, it feels like he's become a little and little bit more reckless. It feels like towards the earlier years, he was reckless, but he was recklessly in control. Now it seems
uh,
like he's pressing the issue in a reckless way, and that's what's causing him to have these what feels like careless mistakes, but it's not necessarily careless. It's just you watching in real time him trying to press the issue because he feels like he has to make something happen. And I think he's losing trust in what he has around him because he's not really leaning on guys to be where they're supposed to be, and he's not trusting that. So I think he has to relax, calm down, remind himself that he has one of the best head coaches in football, remind himself that he has a Hall of Fame tight end, and just lean on what he's been leaning on to get him those rings that he's already gotten. And that's led him to be a Pro Bowl quarterback year in, year out. So I think if they can just gather themselves, they'll be fine. But they Super Bowl this season doesn't necessarily look like Kansas City is a sure bet.
mm,
Yep.
absolutely.
All right. Let's pivot. Let's pivot. Let's pivot. Let's go into basketball side of things. But let's first talking about the WNBA. And I want to remind everybody first that you are watching another episode of Coach's Corner with Coach Konrad and Coach Malcolm. Again, this is presented by the Halftime Podcast. This is a subsector of the Halftime Podcast Network where we can just kind of, middle over some topics that may not necessarily make our main show and be able to invite other coaches and community that we can, bring in and let them talk to you guys about different things that they're doing and just kind of continue to grow our network with other coaches and things of that nature. So again, this is Coach's Corner presented to you by the Halftime Podcast. All right, coach. Let's talk about the WNBA finals. Today is game 4. Currently the game is on and it's, obviously being played right now. Aja Wilson has been completely dominant this entire playoffs, not just this series of the WNBA finals. We also have to remind everybody that this is the first time in WNBA history that the WNBA finals has a 7-game format. Doesn't look like it's going to go to 7,
No,
but
not with the score right now.
but 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 it is the first time that they've done a 7-game format. So with that being said, it clearly looks like the Aces are about to get their third championship in 4 years. My question for you is, are we ready to say that Aja Wilson is arguably the greatest WNBA player of all time already?
Yeah, I know it's definitely been a topic of conversation as of late. I know that's something you've been pressing. And I don't necessarily see why we couldn't say such thing. I think winning 3 championships in 4 years is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Too
and
bad she couldn't three-peat though.
yeah, I mean that would have been crazy,
Yeah,
but
but
I
that's
mean,
hard to do. That's hard to
right,
do.
it's hard to do in any sport. I mean,
Yeah.
Jordan was able to do it twice, but that's because he's
Shaq and
Jordan.
Kobe
You know
did
what I
it.
mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I mean it truly is a real dynasty there in Vegas that they got going on, and I will say, yeah, I'm definitely on. Maybe not. Let me say, I don't want to use the wrong words here, but I'm definitely not cautious when I
Okay.
say I think Aja Wilson is definitely after this game, after the final horn rings, without a question, my WNBA GOAT. Um, do I think there might be some players in some upcoming drafts they may be able to replicate or do greater than what she's done? I like some names coming out of these next couple of drafts,
I would
man.
tell you. I would tell you. I don't think so. I don't think so.
There's
And
one player I have in mind, coach, and I
who
think you know exactly who I'm talking about.
who
Uh, maybe we could be calling her Miss Daniels at some point soon. Uh,
I like Juju a lot.
USC's finest, but I don't know. I really like her. I think she wins basketball games, and I wouldn't be surprised that she would carry that winning over to the W. But right
I don't
now,
know.
I'm not gonna take away from Aja's greatness that we've been seeing. So seriously, kudos to her. I also want to mention before you budge in, Jackie Young has been
Oh
freaking
yeah, she's been
phenomenal
balling.
this
She's
whole
been
series.
balling.
Like
She's been balling.
she's been
I mean, they got their
it's
own little Shaq and Kobe.
yeah, and it's so fun to see. Like being
Yeah,
able to see that in the W, like it's awesome.
yeah,
And I really wanted to give her flowers as well because I think she's played a tremendous part in bringing this Aces
absolutely,
team here as well.
absolutely.
So
Um, yeah, I'm at the point where I do believe that Aja is the WNBA GOAT. She's a 4-time MVP, the only 4-time MVP in WNBA history. She's a multiple time defensive player of the year. I don't know how many all-star MVPs she has, but I'm probably sure she has one, but I'm pretty sure fact checking will give me that answer at some point, or somebody in the comment section will definitely be like, see, this guy knows nothing. She's never won an all-star MVP, but nevertheless, she's a multiple time champion. She's an Olympic gold medalist. I believe she was a national champion as well, right? With South Carolina. Did she win?
she sure was in 2017.
Okay, so she was a national championship, a championship winner as well. So it's like, I mean, she wins. You know what I'm saying? She
Man,
wins.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm just looking at her resume right now.
Yeah.
It's a long list.
No,
it's a long list,
that's what I'm
man.
saying. Like
Like, yeah,
I don't know it all off the top of my head, but I just know like I know her resume is extensive, and I know she has a lot of accolades. And so I think the thing that separates her and that will separate her from any of the other names, that's, the Paiges, the Caitlins, the Jujus, the Nafisa Colliers, even Sabrina Ionescu, because her career isn't done.
yeah,
Um, Brianna Stewart, Stu, the rest of them, like, it's her ability, her defensive prowess, and how she can control the game defensively, as well as be a complete offensive staple and hub.
yeah,
I think that's what separates her from the rest of them. Like, when we think of Sabrina, we don't necessarily think top tier defender. When we think of Brianna, we don't think top tier defender. When we think of Nafisa, we think top tier defender with a little bit of offensive game. When we think of Caitlin, we definitely don't think top tier defender, but we know
right, yeah.
Shorty got a rocket and she can
Hmm.
shoot that ball. She's a great offensive player. When it comes down to, I mean, I can keep going on with other names. When it comes down to Juju, now Juju, I'll give you that. She has a little bit more of that balance to her where she can lock down a little bit defensively. I just don't know if that injury has taken some of that away from her. So I got to see
Right,
her.
yeah.
I
I
got to
think
see
that's
what
gonna be
she,
interesting coming back.
yeah, I
Yeah,
got to see her post injury. Now, Paige, I really like Paige. And there's times where Paige locks in defensively, but then there's times where she's not as locked in. Obviously, we know what Paige can do offensively. She's not necessarily Caitlyn, but she can get in that mid range and go crazy. Like
absolutely. Yeah,
I really love her game. It's very solid all around. She's a great spot up 3-point shooter. She can really get her game going in the mid range off of post or off of pull ups, and she obviously can finish around the basket. So I really like Paige's game. It's really complete. I just don't know if she. I don't know if she commands the same type of offensive attention like Aja does, and I don't know if she's that much of an impact defensively like Aja. So I think when you're saying if somebody has the ability to kind of outdo what Aja has done, they have to be somebody that commands a big presence on both sides of the basketball,
yeah.
night in and night out, because that's what Aja does. She does that night in and night out. She's going to be the Aces key component offensively, and she's the key component defensively, because no matter what's going on, if there's any breakdowns from her guards on top where they let a woman get past them on top, Aja is there at the basket defending it every single time, protecting the rim. So I mean, like, there's no getting around her. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to deal with her on both sides of the basketball game. On both sides of the floor, you're gonna have to deal with her. And I don't know. I could be wrong. A lot of these young WNBA players could definitely develop into that, being dominant on both sides of the basketball. But if they want to take Asia's place, they're gonna have to be able to do that. Be a complete force on defense and be simultaneously a complete
Man,
force
and
on
and here
offense.
and here's the thing, man. It's not even like Age is on her way out. She's
No, she still got
29.
time to
Like
go. She's
she's
young.
29, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
so
She's
she's only
technically
going
just
to
hitting
add
her prime.
exactly like she's literally only going to add and add and add to these
Yeah,
accolades over her career. Like,
yeah.
man, I don't want to upset any people by any means, but if you were to sit here and just look at her kind of just career accolades and highlights and compare them to like and awards and kind of compare them to Jordan's, she's on that trajectory in the
It
fact that
stacks up.
she's dominant on both sides of the ball.
Yes,
Like Aja is
yes.
a two-time scoring champion.
Mm-hmm.
She's four-time WNBA All Defensive.
Mm-hmm.
She's a five-time block leader. Like this is the type of stuff that Jordan was doing in his time.
Yeah.
Like he was multiple time scoring champion, defensive
Multiple
player
time
of the
first team
year
all
one
team
time,
defender,
right? And then yeah,
steals leader.
all defensive. Yeah, he steals leader multiple
Yep.
times. Like I think when we're talking about the greatest of all time, I don't think it's just how dominant they could be on one side of the ball.
It's
I
both.
think the game of basketball is so importantly
Yes.
just focused on both sides of the basketball. And Jordan does it the best, and I think Aja does it the best as well, man.
Yes. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Let's stay in basketball, but let's pivot over to the NBA. The NBA preseason has started. Um, Obviously it's preseason, so nobody's.
Sure.
I mean, you're not finna be like, oh my god, this is so amazing. But there have been some teams that I feel like look good. So Denver to me looks good. Um, New York looks good, but they also look like they're not going to be as tough as they was last
Hmm.
season. I think they still have to learn what Mike Brown is asking of them, and I think it's going to require a trade mid-season. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they're going to have to adjust that team a little bit in order to play the way that Mike Brown wants them to play. The Clippers look pretty good, but they haven't been playing a lot of great competition just yet. They've been playing a lot of overseas competition, so you can, call it what it is. But from your perspective and what you've seen a little bit, are there any teams that have shocked you a little bit in how they look in preseason? And are there teams that you're kind of like, yep, they're still going to be a problem?
Yeah, I'm gonna lead it off with the Phoenix Suns. I think they look pretty damn good. I
Okay.
think this might be the
Okay.
best version of Devin Booker we've ever had.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think he's on a mission to prove something this year, and I think those guys that just got traded from Houston are also on that mission.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
also kind of like how they were really able to restructure this whole team
Mm-hmm.
in such a short amount of time. I think this team could be competitive this year. Am I
I
saying
agree.
they're contender? No. Are they an aspiring contender?
Yes.
Yes. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think they could definitely make the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs. Um, Another team I'd like to put out there. I think, granted, it could just be that some of this chemistry has rolled over from last year, but I'm not going to sit here and say that Matas Buzelis and the Chicago Bulls have not looked pretty okay. But granted,
I quit. I'm done.
I think
Show
the main
over.
reason
Show
for
over.
this.
We're not doing this.
No, no, no.
We're not
But
doing this.
that's why I prefaced it based on this is just that I think it genuinely is because they literally made one move all off season. So they brought the same damn roster back.
Okay.
Like all they did was move Lonzo. So
Okay.
and brought in Isaac Okoro. Like regardless, it's the same core of players. Like Vooch is still even there. So there isn't any
And they're
new.
talking about potentially trading him too. So yeah.
Exactly. So like my thing is like I think why they possibly kind of look more maybe in season form than some of these other teams is because of the familiarity between all the
Of
players. Like
course. I
you
agree
see
with you.
Giddy's feeding Modest with great passes and Kobe, all these guys are getting the ball and doing kind of what we saw last season. But am I going to sit here and say that do I think this is going to be consistent throughout the year? No. But the question was preseason, and
Right.
who do we like? How are we seeing teams play this
No,
preseason?
I
So
agree. I'm
I
right
think
there
I
with
think the
you.
Bulls
That
have
was the
played pretty
question.
decent. Granted, they played Cleveland twice.
Yeah, that's all we've played so far.
It's stupid. I don't know why we played them twice.
Because they're in close
Um,
proximity. So a lot of
yeah,
times in the preseason they have you play teams that's like regional and not
absolutely,
necessarily.
and that's fine. But why
Yeah.
twice? Why not match us up against some other team?
I don't
Let us
know.
play
I would
Milwaukee.
have
Let us
rather
play
I would have
Indiana.
rather us play like Milwaukee,
Let
even
us play
Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I
even
know we have
Detroit.
Detroit as our season opener. It's our home opener and stuff like that, but still, why not? I
And
don't
that's going to be a
understand.
tough game because
Oh, hell yeah.
Detroit is a good team.
Oh, yeah.
That's the team that I think is a dark horse to be a real competitor and winning this division. I don't think necessarily we're going to be in the thick of it. I think obviously I feel like our division is going to be between Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Detroit.
Well, we know what the Bulls are going to do. They're going to make the play-in again. That's all they're going to
I don't
do.
know. I don't even know that. Well, let me take that back because the East is
Exactly.
porous. Yeah,
Exactly.
the East is porous, and so you can almost guarantee a play-in spot. As even if we're in 10, we still technically got a play-in spot. So let me not say that. You're
Yeah,
right.
and to be 10 in the East, you don't need to have that great of a
Yeah,
record.
you're right.
So,
We probably will be a play-in team. That says nothing to me. That just
yeah,
tells me that we're still doing the same old, same old.
we're
I
okay
guess the
with
only
mediocrity, coach, is what it is.
Yeah, the only thing I guess the only real thing that I'm looking for this season when it comes down to the Bulls, just really briefly.
Sure.
I want to see growth and Modest being able to take the being able to do things off the dribble and being able to knock down a 3-point shot consistently. If he
Yeah.
can do those two things, I think that will drastically change the trajectory of this season. I want to see Josh Giddey be able to score more than 14 to 15 points per game. I need to see him averaging about 18 to 19 points per game.
Yeah.
I need to
And,
see
and
that
and
from
keep that
him.
same playmaking output.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep the same playmaking, but I really need to see that he can score 18 to 19 a game. Kobe White has to turn into a Donovan Mitchell type scorer. So I need to see him averaging 26 to 27 a game, somewhere between 25 to 27 a game. If those three things can happen, then I think you have a formula for progress, formula for the Bulls being able to exceed expectations and potentially being able to sneak into the playoffs as like a number 8 seed. If all three of those things can happen. Io, I think you're gonna get the same Io. He's gonna be Mr. Consistent from what he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Vooch is gonna be Mr. Consistent as long as he's staying around here, however long he's around here. He's gonna be consistent at what he does. Julian Phillips is going to be a rotational player that may spark you every now and then, maybe hit a
What
game.
do you think of the kid Noah Essengay? What do you think he does this season? Because what I view it as is he's going to get treated how Miles got treated last year.
No, I think they're going to throw him out there and he's going to play. I think it's going to be a little bit different because I think this team doesn't have too many veterans in anybody's way, so there's no excuse
Yeah, I guess it is. I
Noah.
guess it is different than the beginning of last
Yeah,
season. Yeah,
yeah. There's no excuse for not playing him, and you're not invested in Patrick Williams anymore.
yeah,
So
right.
it's not like it's not like you're trying to see what Patrick is gonna do. So that's not necessarily the case anymore. So Noah's gonna play. I think the thing about him though is I can't figure out exactly what he's gonna be good at.
No, me either. I couldn't tell you, man.
I can't. I'm not saying what his basketball trait is. Like, what is that exactly that I can put my thumb on and say, okay, you're going to do this for us every single night? I can't say he's going to be an elite rebounder. I can't say that he's going to be a great perimeter defender. I can't say that he's going to be a great finisher at the basket. I can't say that he's going to be able to push the ball down the court, push the pace, and help Giddy out with being able to handle the ball in transition. I literally don't know what this kid is going to actually bring. At least when it came down to Patrick, we knew that he was supposed to be a perimeter defender. When it came down to Io, that he was somebody in transition that can score baskets, get to the cup, and finish. When it came down to Kobe, we knew that he was a good shooter for the most part and could, kind of score from the perimeter. Josh Giddey, we know that he's a facilitator. Vooch, we know that he's a inside scorer with the ability to shoot from the outside and will consistently get you a double double. The point is, just about everybody on our roster, we can sit there and say this is what they're going to do. This kid Noah, I have no idea what he brings to the table. I think he's ultimately one of Arturas Karnisovas's science experiments. It's a
Yeah.
developmental project. Maybe he thinks he can take this kid Noah, scrawny, skinny, 6'10", 6'11", 6'9" type player, and turn him into a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Maybe that's what he thinks. Maybe that's what he feels. Because if everybody goes back to the beginning of Giannis's career, nobody kind of really knew what he would become either. He
Yeah.
was just kind of lanky and skinny and tall, but he had maximum effort. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe Noah will be the maximum effort guy. He'll be all around the court. Maybe he'll be the guy that's in passing lanes, getting deflections, getting steals all the time.
See, here's
Being a
my
being
problem. Here's
a
my problem with that though.
being a longer version of Dallin Terry in a
I
way.
was about to say, like, we literally have two of those guys on the roster.
Yeah,
We got
I know.
Dalen
You was
Terry
gonna
and we
say
got
Dallin
Julian
Terry. Yeah,
Phillips.
yeah,
Like, we
yeah,
got two of those just kind of fill players that get
yeah.
deflections, run the floor hard, get an occasional dunk here or there, and maybe get a steal. Like, dude, did we need to use another draft pick on that type of guy? We've
I don't
drafted
know,
two of them
coach.
already. Maybe third one's the charm. I don't know. I don't know. But I will say, like, the upside with Essengay is, yeah, his measurements are definitely a lot more attractive than the other ones,
Oh
right?
yeah, of course,
He's
of course.
taller, he's lankier. He's shown at least in some of the tape, he could fly to the basket, right?
Yeah.
Like he's maybe not necessarily like the sneaky athletic, but he's got the length so that it appears that he's athletic type of thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
His
think that will do
wingspan
him
definitely
justice.
makes up for everything that he lacks in lateral foot speed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
100%. But like I said, I just can't put my thumb on what he will do well. His shot is spotty. His finishing is a little okay. He doesn't really have the greatest off the ball jump shot. He's not a creator, a facilitator. So he's a raw prospect, a raw project. And I would be interested in see how Billy Donovan uses him throughout the course of the season. Now, if you're asking me how many minutes he's gonna play, I don't know. Somewhere between maybe 10 to 12 a night is probably what it'll average. And that may not even come until towards the end
Who?
of the season because
Noah?
I think they're gonna prioritize Patrick Williams for trade bait. I think they're gonna prioritize
Oh,
Io for
for the
trade
first
bait.
half of the season, absolutely. I think
Yeah,
so too.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna prioritize. Now, does Patrick Williams start? I'm not sure. I think Io is probably going to be slotted in as the starting small forward. I
At the
think that's
beginning of the
what they're
year,
going to
you think
do.
so?
I think that's what they're going to do. I could be wrong. Billy Donovan could surprise me, but I think you can get away with slotting Io as a starting quote unquote small forward because Josh Giddey is 6'8". And so technically you
True.
can
Yep.
put Josh Giddey on somebody that's taller on defense while Io on offense can play your small forward position. So I think that's how you can kind of get away with it. It's like an unorthodox way of doing it, but it works still, technically. So I think that may be the starting small forward. It could be Io. But I do think you're going to give Patrick Williams as many chances as possible and probably give him about 20 to 22 minutes, 20, maybe even 24 minutes off the bench per game to kind of go out there and be like a key contributor to the bench mob. I think they're going to make that a priority to make sure that Patrick Williams is a key contributor to the bench. And so that's going to be the goal. And that's why I think Noah early on in the season won't get as much time because, again, they'll be prioritizing trying to
Yeah.
showcase Patrick for a trade, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You think Isaac Okoro gets the starting spot over Patrick
Off the bench or as a starter in
as a
general?
starter?
No, because his shot isn't great. And if you're choosing between Io and Isaac, you get the same great defense, but you get a much better shooter in Io.
Yeah, but I guess with Isaac you do get a little bit more height, length.
What is Io 6'6"?
I was about 6'5", I want to say.
And Isaac Okoro is what 6'6", 6'7"?
I
I think
mean,
he's about the same height, 6'5", 6'6".
let me fact check this right now just so
Yeah.
yeah, he's 6'5". He is six
Also, he's
five.
6'5" too, and Io is what?
But he's got yeah, let me check IO. But
I think
Isaac
I
just has a generally like bigger
bigger
frame.
frame. Yeah, I know,
You know
I
what I
know that.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Isaac is much bulkier, but
Yeah.
Io is how tall?
IO's 6'4". IO's 6'4", 200 pounds. Isaac Okoro is 6'5", 225.
See, okay, so my thing is, I do believe Isaac Okoro is here to eventually become that starting small forward, but I don't know if he starts the season that way. And that's because, like I said, I think the Bulls will be prioritizing moving some pieces. I think Kobe's on
Yeah.
the table. I think Io's on the table. I think Patrick is on the table. I think Vucevic is on the table. I think all four of those guys are on the table for potentially being able to be moved. Why? Because Kobe is looking at a potential opportunity to make $40 million a year, and we know that the Bulls don't want to pay anybody because as soon as they sign Zach, they pretty much tried to trade him. And
Right.
there's no way in God's green earth that you can sit here and tell me that if you think Kobe is deserving of 40 million, but Zach wasn't, you are smoking every drug on this planet.
Yeah.
So
No,
if
no
that,
doubt.
so if that's the case, then I'm for sure knowing that they're looking at potentially moving off from having to deal with paying Kobe that type of money, no matter how much he balls this year. Like he would
Yeah.
have to ball on a Michael Jordan type level. Like when we
Right. So
say
so let
from
me let, let me ask
UNC,
you this because you mentioned this like in the ideal bull scenario
yeah,
that if we had the off chance of actually making the playoffs,
hmm
that three things had to happen. Josh Giddey needs to score more points.
yeah,
Matas Buzelis needs to become a consistent shooter,
yeah,
and Kobe White needs to average 26 to 28 points a game.
yes.
If you're the Bulls GM and Kobe White gives you that type of season and is consistent throughout the season, are you re-signing him in what dollar amount?
I'll resign him, but it ain't at 40 million. The most he'll get from me is 35
Okay,
max,
got you.
max,
Okay,
max.
okay.
And
I thought
I'm
you were
really
about to
not
say
trying.
like 28.
And yeah, I'm really
Okay, all
not
right.
trying to give him the 35. I really want to settle on like 29, 30, right?
Sure.
Because I got to be respectful because in a sense, what he contributes to the team is something that isn't as replaceable in comparison to Giddy. I know people are giddy about Giddy, but you can
Mhm.
always find. I ain't saying you can always find, but you can find people that's willing to pass the ball. Let's just keep it, just keep it a buck.
There's
You can
always
al-
some. There's always some young
yeah,
buck
there's
coming out of
always
every
somebody,
draft
some
that's a
some
phenomenal
European, yeah,
playmaker.
there's always some European guard that's tall, that's a playmaker that can pass, that you can. I mean, obviously, I was just talking about him. Brooklyn got the kid that I wanted
Right,
anyway, Edgar
Igor
Demon.
Demon,
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of him, speaking of it, there's always somebody that's gonna be coming through. I wanted that kid because I honestly wanted to replace him for Giddy and just
Yep,
start over with a young nucleus. I was ready to just kind of blow things up anyway this offseason and just say, let Giddy walk, don't pay him, draft a kid. Igor, if you got to move up to get him, go get him. Build with Modest, with Igor, trade Vucevic, and just figure out this young little nucleus. But let your point guard and Igor and Modest be, your two nucleuses for right now. But they obviously didn't go that route. They drafted Noah Essengay, which they're happy about. They re-signed Giddy for a price point that they felt comfortable with. So they still did a lot of good things. But
sure.
ultimately, in my mind, I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily see any of those things. Now, the only thing I do see happening is maybe Modest being able to become a consistent shooter, because I do think he'll start this season
Yeah,
at power forward at the stretch four. And if Vucevic does play more on the post, it will give opportunities for Modest on a kick out to be able to just, learn how to knock down
which
that three
yeah,
consistently.
which I feel like we've seen definitely this
Yeah,
preseason already in these two
yeah.
games. So
So I do think he'll get a chance to develop that. So I think out of all of those three, I think Modest has the most opportunity to kind of do what I'm asking. Kobe, I don't necessarily see being able to average those type of points because he's never done it and he isn't consistent. That's literally been the knock on him his entire career, is that he
yeah,
can't be consistent. And I'm not gonna just assume in year, I think 8, which is I think this season, or year 7, somewhere between 6 to 8.
yeah, right,
I'm not gonna assume that all of a sudden he's now gonna become the model of consistency. That's not what's gonna happen. And Giddy also has not been an offensive type of player. That's literally the reason why he was moved from OKC, was because they already had playmaking and he couldn't offer any outside shooting and scoring. So he had to be benched in order for that team to prosper and
yeah,
eventually traded. So,
right.
I mean, like, we're sitting here asking for certain things to happen. And if they happen, kudos. If they don't, I'm not shocked or surprised. I just know those things need to happen in order for this Bulls team to take the next level. But I just think in my mind, going into the season, Vooch is on the table. Patrick Williams is always on the table. Io, I think, could be considerably on the table depending on what you're getting back. If it requires Io, but you're getting something that's really good back, then you just have to do that deal. And then Kobe, I think, is on the table reluctantly, only because of the fact that his next contract is ridiculous, right? The
Yeah,
projected next contract for what he can make. And we always got to remind fans that it's not necessarily what he deserves, is what he can leverage. The
yeah.
Bulls don't have a way to replace him just now. So, and I don't know how many free agents are coming up that can kind of do the things that Kobe does. If they are, they're probably older veteran
Right,
shooting
which
guards.
apparently this whole talk about the Bulls not wanting to get anybody in free agency this year is that they're banking on next year's free agency class.
The
So,
2026 free agency class.
yes.
Okay. I don't know who's available in 2026, but I guess it must be some guys that they really have their eye on. Um, so whatever that means. I know it ain't Giannis, so I know he ain't no free agent. So I don't know who exactly they think that they have in mind. It ain't Jokic. Even though I think Jokic is up for an extension that he hasn't signed with Denver just yet. So maybe that's who they're trying to get. I'm sure our tourists would love to get Jokic in Chicago because that'd be like creme de la creme for him.
Let me see. Well, I mean, wait, didn't KD sign an extension?
Not yet. Not with Houston yet.
So technically, KD would be a free agent.
Okay.
LeBron James,
Nobody cares.
nobody cares. CJ McCollum, washed.
See, another old veteran guard. That's what I
Chris
thought.
Middleton, washed.
Old veteran guard.
Porzingis,
No.
Tobias Harris,
Nada.
John Collins,
Who cares?
Anthony Simons.
Nah.
I don't think so either. Terry Rozier,
Who cares?
Vooch,
We already got him.
Norman Powell.
He's a nice name, but I don't know if he moves the needle for you.
Yeah, I don't think he replaces the scoring output that Kobe was like
And
giving
even
you.
if he
Like the
did, he doesn't do anything defensively.
no, exactly. So
It's
I mean,
you're getting the
other than
same
that,
player.
like Jayden Ivey is a restricted free agent next offseason. So maybe
Maybe
they'd
you
be
want to
willing
go,
to
maybe
pay
yeah,
him.
maybe you want to go after him to be what? Your point guard? You already got Josh.
Right. So I don't
He's
know
not really a
how
shooting guard. So really
that's
it
why
seems like you're
I'm lost in the translation of this Bulls front office. I understand Arturis is European, but so am I, and I'm getting lost in the translation of what he's trying to say. All right, but because it doesn't make any damn sense to me. I'm looking at this sheet in front of me, and I don't see any names
the
that
only
fit this
name that
Bulls
you can see is
roster.
The only name that you see is KD, bro. That's it.
Yeah,
And if you're doing all of this to get an aging KD, then whoo,
yeah.
boy,
Good luck, pal. Good
boy,
luck.
we got a lot to work on in
Maybe
this front
maybe
office.
maybe Shaden Sharp is the replacement. He's a restricted free agent.
I'm not again.
But see, like the way they made it sound like is like
They were going
they're
big game hunting. That
yeah,
they were
like
going
a
big
27 year
fish
old
hunting.
player in his
Yeah.
prime that's gonna be available. Like that's
Now,
literally not the
really
case.
quickly, look at the 2027 free agency class and
Yeah,
see what that looks like.
let me look at that now because I think I could just change it from here.
Because maybe they are talking about that class.
So 2027, yeah, there's definitely a lot more names. Stephen Curry becomes a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis,
Mm-hmm.
Giannis,
Mm-hmm.
AD and Giannis are on player options. So
Yeah.
take that as wish. Jimmy Butler becomes an
Okay.
unrestricted free agent. Jokic is on a player option.
Yeah.
Cat is on a player option.
Yeah.
Paul George is on a player option.
Uh-huh.
Donovan Mitchell's on a player
Yeah.
option.
You ain't gotta say no more. You ain't gotta keep going.
Kawhi, Trey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Zach,
yeah.
James Harden, like
See, now that's the free agency class that they need to be preparing for.
yeah.
So I think that's the one that they might be referring to, that they're trying to keep their books a certain way. And that's why Kobe cannot get that contract. That's why
No,
Kobe has
absolutely
to get
not.
traded.
Yeah.
That's why Kobe has to get traded. Because if you pay Kobe that type of money, you literally you literally removed yourself from being able to get one of those big guys in that 2027 free agency class. Because you can't pay Kobe that type of money, pay Josh Giddey that type of money. Who you think you finna get out of
Man,
that
dude.
2027 at 40 million a year? They're all
Some
making 50 million plus.
some of these players are crazy. Like Jalen Green, Brandon Ingram, Tyler Hero.
Like, come on, man.
That's big
Now,
names, man.
let's just keep into just real quickly. Let's keep into context that some of these guys might end up signing extensions. So all
Of
these names
course.
may or
Yeah.
may not be there, but the reality is 2027 is looking like the class that you should be trying to target if you're thinking about where you're going to spend your money in the future. It isn't 2026. So if they are planning on doing anything, it's the 2027 free agency that they're trying to target. And that means in my mind, again, that just tells me in my mind that there's no way you plan on paying Kobe. Kobe is going to be traded. Patrick Williams is definitely going to be traded. Vooch is going to be out of here. And Io could be up for consideration of trade, just depending on what he's asking for. And so that leaves you financially in a situation where the only person you're really playing is Josh Giddey. And from that point on, now you're sitting there in 2027 going, okay, who do we need to add around a more mature modest, another couple more years of Josh Giddey? And now we got this cap space. Who do we add in? Is it a Jokic? Is it a KD? Is it a Giannis? Is it whoever? But you might have to get the KD first in order to get somebody in 2027. So
Well,
maybe that's
yeah,
what it is.
I see that reasoning too, and not just necessarily to like compete, but also
To convince
exactly because realistically, when's the last time Chicago has actually landed a big time free agent?
nobody.
Exactly. It
Nobody. I
hasn't
mean,
happened.
I think the last time we supposedly had a big name free agent acquisition was what, Paul Gasol,
Probably, right? And that was in 2015 or 2014, right? So it's been
and he was much older than.
exactly. It's
Yeah,
been a decade. It's been a
yeah,
decade,
yeah.
which is
I think
crazy to
after
say.
that, but not after that. I think before that was Carlos Boozer.
Right. And then I mean what, like Jimmy Butler we drafted.
And then
Exactly,
later,
and
I
he
guess
traded
later in the
for.
years, it was D Wade when we got D Wade to come here for
Oh
those 2
right,
years.
yeah, Dwayne Wade when he was on his way out. Yeah, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. Can't forget
um,
about that, coach.
right. No, I mean,
Um,
that anomaly of a year that was,
yeah.
but nah. Well, I was about to say one more thing, but yeah, I'm definitely with you. Like, I could definitely see a time, a scenario in which we need to pick up some type of name this next season,
In order
regardless if
to,
he's an
yeah,
aging veteran,
yep,
pick him up on a one
yep,
year deal
yep.
just to be like, hey,
We
we're
got this
willing to
guy in
pay.
house.
We got this guy in house. We're willing to pay you.
Yep,
All right,
yep,
2027 free agents. We're willing
yep.
to pay you. All right, and we're here to show you that if you come to Chicago, you will be loved by the fan base,
Yeah,
type of
you'll be
thing.
in this
That's the
market.
whole pitch.
You'll be in this market. This guy is here. You got, let's say you are able to get a KD, right? You get
Yeah.
KD in 2026. Now you got KD in house. That gives you leverage to talk about, okay, you got Kevin Durant here. Now you can go into that 2027 saying, hey, it won't be just you. We got KD. We got a playmaking point guard who is all about passing to guys. So if we can get you and we got KD and we got a point guard that passes and then we got a young stud in Modest Buzelis, we got something cooking here. We're all long, we're rangy, defendy, stuff, whatever it is, however you need to spin it. But I think it all hinges on either the type of cap space that you can open up going into 2027 or being able to secure something and secure a name like KD in 2026 to buy you leverage in 2027. So one of those things need to happen. But literally, I know the 2027 free agency is where we need to be targeting and making sure that we have the type of money we need to get two guys if we can. That's all I'm gonna say
Absolutely.
about that.
Now, but before we move on, I do want to bring this back to the original question
Oh
because
yeah.
you did give me the Detroit Pistons. I wanted to see if you had another team, maybe from the West or any team in the league that has impressed you so far this preseason.
From the West, actually, I ain't gonna lie. I think Golden State is gonna be a lot tougher than people think.
Okay.
I was kind of concerned about them and their roster and how it kind of shaped up, but they kind of like started putting pieces together towards like the basically by training camp.
Yeah. I mean, they got Kuminga
But
back.
I like their acquisitions. I like Al Horford. I like how he plays. I like Post being somebody that they bring off the bench now. I like the fact that Tracy Jackson Davis is not their starting center or their key backup center. I like the addition of Seth Curry. I think that's somebody that can help them with more shooting. I think Jonathan Kuminga can fulfill the role of Sean Livingston when they had Sean Livingston there, somebody that can
Mm-hmm.
work the mid range, go 1-on-1, and get his shot off in the mid range and stuff like that. So I think they have components and key pieces of what they had when they had like the David Lees and the Andrew Bogus and the Leandro Barbosas and that type of team and roster. I think they have that nucleus. But what I will say is this: the Utah Jazz is saying that they're willing to trade Lauri Markkanen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been saying that the type of player and piece that they would need at the power forward position to help take them to the next level would be a Lauri Markkanen type of player. Somebody that can stretch the floor, knock down shots whenever Steph or Jimmy is being double teamed coming off screens and can take advantage of those opportunities in ways that Draymond can't.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, who do you trade to get that done? And does Utah want anything you got? And it feels like the only couple pieces that you can trade to Utah to make a Lauri Markkanen trade go down and make sense, it would be a mix of Kuminga, Moses Moody, or Draymond Green in them packages. If
Absolutely.
I'm the Golden State Warriors, I definitely want to try to move Draymond as much as possible because I already got Jimmy Butler. I don't need Draymond. I have my defensive minded guy back there that can rah, rah, rah and get guys up and will probably not be a nutcase and cause us to lose game with technical fouls and stupidity. So if I am Golden State, I would love to try to move Draymond. Maybe in a 3-team deal where Laurie comes to us, Draymond can end up going to Detroit, going back home. And then maybe Utah can pull a piece or two from Detroit and bring that to their squad. But that's what I would be looking to do and maybe throw a pick or two. to give to Utah for getting Lauri Markkinen and essentially only giving up Draymond Green. But that would be my goal. However, if I'm Utah, I don't do a deal with Golden State if Jonathan Kuminga's name is not a part of it.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
I
think
definitely think he would have to be a part of it
so. I
just to fit
yeah
kind of like the timeline of that roster
yeah
if they were to get rid of Lauri Markkinen. Because
yep.
I'm pretty sure he's one of the oldest players on
Players
that
on the
team,
team.
which is
Yeah.
crazy. So,
So I think if they were to make a move, I think Lauri Markkinen is there. But the other sneaky move that the Golden State Warriors can make is that I won't count them out in a Giannis sweepstakes if Milwaukee turns out to be a dud this season. So I won't put that past them either because they do have components and pieces that can make a Giannis trade really compelling for the Milwaukee Bucks too. So I won't I won't put it past them. Plus, the NBA is a business, and if I am the NBA, a Golden State situation with Steph and Giannis looks really good, baby. That's all
hmm
I'm gonna say. That looks
sure
really
does.
good for years to come. But all right, Coach, let's pivot back to the NFL. Let's wrap the show up with our Week 6 predictions of what we think is gonna happen. I'm gonna call out the games. I got a little bit of the slate over here, so hopefully that'll be able to help out. Um, we already saw Philly and New York, so we know what happened in that game. New York obviously won. But let's start off with the Broncos and the Jets. Who do you have?
Yeah, give me the Broncos in that one. I think that's the London game as well. They're playing at
Yeah, that's the early
8:30.
one at 9:30.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. But
You got
the
the
Broncos
Broncos?
are rolling. Yeah,
Okay. I got the Jets getting their first win. I think they figure it out this week against the Broncos. I think this is the right type of team for them to figure it out. Not a high powered offense. Their defense can finally find some grounding and they can potentially win out a close one. So I'm going to take the Jets in this one. I could be wrong, but I'm going to take them. Let's start off. What else we got? We got Seattle and Jacksonville. I'm going to go Jacksonville. They're rolling.
yeah. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a lot of points scored, but I
Yeah.
will take Jacksonville in this game as well.
All right, Miami and the Chargers. I'm gonna go the Chargers because I really can't believe in Miami. Although I do think this can be a sneaky game where the Chargers can lose.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a trap game for the Chargers.
Yeah,
Is definitely a very losable game for them, but I will take, the veterancy of Harbaugh and being able to get his guys to win that football game. So give me the Chargers.
absolutely. All right, we got the Rams and Baltimore. Lamar Jackson is still out, so I don't even know why this is still being played on TV. So I got the Rams.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams as well. They've been playing great football, and Puka Nacua is on his way to an offensive player of the year, man. He's been
He's
phenomenal.
been balling. He's been
Yeah.
balling. The Colts in Arizona. Of course, I would love to pick against the Colts, but they've been playing well, and I'm like you. I got to jump on your bandwagon and say until proven otherwise, go with the teams that's been looking strong. So I'm gonna go with the Colts in this one.
Yeah, I will say this is definitely another trap game for the
Yep.
Colts. I think Arizona has played some better football as of late, and
Yes.
possibly might be hard containing Marvin Harrison Jr. So I will take the Colts in this one. They haven't let me down yet this season, so I'm gonna have them rolling on their win streak still.
All right, moving on. We got Dallas and Carolina. To me, this is a trap game for Dallas. This would be very I guess discouraging if they were to lose to Carolina. But I'm gonna pick Dallas. I'm gonna say Dallas comes into Carolina and gets the job done.
Okay, yeah, I'm taking Dallas in this one. I think
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's still gonna play a really good game, and
Yeah.
Javonte Williams has been pretty damn good this year for sure.
All right. We got New England versus the G League Saints. I got New England only because there's no need to think the Saints can win a football game. But if they do, oh well, it's New England. I don't really care. But I got New England for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna take the Saints.
Okay.
I think that New England's gonna show us why they're not ready to be a competing football team yet because they just beat the Buffalo Bills and then they're gonna come in this week
And
and
lose to the
lose to the
Saints.
New
Yeah.
Orleans Saints. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Drake May might play one of his worst games this season.
Okay. Cleveland versus the Steelers, a
Divisional,
divisional game, a divisional
yes,
matchup.
sir.
Um, I guess the better in me would want to take the Cleveland Browns only because it just will rock things in Vegas. But the sure thing is to say that the Steelers will be able to handle business against Dylan Gabriel and company. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh. But if I just wanted to feel like I can, be a little lucky and try my cards at betting, I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland won. But I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, this is the matchup of the two highest, paid non-quarterback players in the league. So,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. I think both of them will cause havoc for each other's
both
teams.
quarterbacks. Yeah,
Yeah, but give me the Steelers. They've been playing some pretty decent football this year,
yeah.
so
I won't say
give me the
great, but it's
Steelers.
been decent. It's been
Yeah,
decent. All right, Tennessee and the Raiders.
Lord
I'm
have
gonna
mercy.
yeah, the slaughter game. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I'm gonna say Cam Ward can come to Vegas and put on a show and in one of the biggest cities. Well, in one of the biggest Showtime cities. I won't say the biggest cities, but one of the biggest Showtime cities in the US. I think he'll go there and put on a show. So I'm gonna take Tennessee for this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee in this as well. I think Cam Ward plays himself a really good game.
Yeah. San Francisco and Tampa Bay. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big fan of Kyle Shanahan. I think he is the best coach in the NFC, and we'll have a conversation about that probably on the halftime when we get back around to that one. But um, I want to go with San Francisco so bad, but Baker Mayfield has been playing so well, and he's been gutting out a lot of wins for Tampa Bay that I just think Mac Jones versus Baker should not end in a situation where Baker loses. So I'm gonna go Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm going Tampa Bay here as well. I'm loving the way Baker's playing. I'm also loving the way the young rook Emeka Egbuka is playing.
Yeah.
They've had an insane connection for a first year wide receiver and a veteran quarterback. So yeah, give me Tampa Bay in this one.
All right, we got Cincinnati and Green Bay. Joe Flacco is going to start for Cincinnati. That offensive line is still terrible. So if he thought he was running in Cleveland, he's going to be running in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna go with Green Bay. But I will say this: I will not be surprised if this game is a lot tougher than people think.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns. Just kidding. I'm going with the Packers. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form they're losing this game at Lambeau. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, this could be the game of the week in my mind. Kansas City and Detroit. Sunday night.
NKC.
Man, this is tough because I'm a fan of KC because I like Patrick Mahomes. But I'm a realist in understanding that they've been struggling so bad that it's
Hmm.
just like, why would you pick them? But I think that's the best time to pick them is when you think that they can't do it. That's when they do it. So I'm gonna go KC at home, and I think because of what happened last week to Jacksonville, they're gonna find a way to be able to beat this Detroit Lions team.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you on that one. I'm taking Kansas City in this game at home. I feel like it is extremely hard to win at Arrowhead.
Yeah,
Of course, the Lions have shown they could win tough road games, but I think Arrowhead is a different animal. And I think when they played there last year, they did not win that game, although it was a close one. So that'll be fun to see. Give me KC.
all right. And then we got two more. We got Buffalo and Atlanta. I don't even know why this game
Why
is
is this
being
being
played.
played on Monday night?
I have no idea. Whoever did this scheduling just thought Atlanta must was going to be a good team this year, but obviously they were wrong. So I'm going to go Buffalo. And I do think this is going to be a BTA situation.
Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo as well. I feel like this is the first time all year that they're playing away. I feel like Buffalo's been home every damn game
Game,
this season
yeah,
so far, but
yeah.
they are playing on the road for this one. But yeah,
That
give
means
me.
their end of season schedule is going to be backloaded with a lot of
Oh my
road
God, yeah,
games.
but that's what I've been seeing all over X. Yeah,
Yeah.
that their season is just filled with away games now. But yeah, give me Buffalo in this one for sure.
All right. And then we're gonna finish it off on Monday night, which is the game that we're gonna watch because why do we care about Buffalo and Atlanta?
Exactly.
We're gonna we're gonna watch Chicago versus the Washington Commanders, or should I say the Arlington Heights Bears versus the Washington Commanders. Um I'm gonna go Bears. I'm gonna go with the non-home team, the Arlington Heights Bears. I'm gonna go with them. Uh And I'm gonna go with them because I think Caleb is obviously prepared, gonna be prepared for this game much more than he was the first time playing Washington. This is coming off a bye week. We should have had some guys be able to recover from injuries or nagging ailments that may have kept them from being able to perform at their highest. And I think Jayden Daniels is still coming off of returning from injury, although he played last week and they did just fine. I don't think he's completely 100% to go against what this matchup is going to be, because this is obviously the matchup versus 1 and 2. This is a rematch of what happened last year when the Washington Commanders walked out with a Hail Mary victory
And
that kind of
derailed the Bears'
that
whole season.
derailed the rest of the season. So this is what you would call a get back type of game, and this could be the game that sets our season up for that trajectory of success. And it
Sure.
could be the game that does the same thing that it did for the Bears last season. This could be the game that does that for the Commanders this season, where they get back broken and the rest of their season is, tumultuous. So I think this is a get back game. I think Caleb is coming for his get back. Do I think he's going to go out there and do something absolutely crazy? No, I think he's just going to do what it takes to win the game. He's not going to put the ball in harm's way. I see him being able to get about 2 touchdowns passing, and he'll have some key moments of scrambling to keep drives going. And I think he'll be able to outduel Jayden Daniels in this game, and that's how we'll be able to find ourselves winning this game. Do I think it's going to be close? Yes, but I don't think we're going to win by a field goal. I do think we're going to win by about 7 or 10.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on all of that. I think this is where DJ Moore reclaims his King of Washington crown. And he gives us a big performance for the first time this season. I'm
Really?
really looking
Okay,
forward to
cool.
that. I
Yeah,
think
it's
this
about
is when
time.
people, yeah, I think this is the game. DJ always plays
Good
well
against Washington.
against
Yeah,
Washington, and
yeah.
I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be able to this week.
Maybe
I
that's the team he
think,
wants to go to on the low.
well, maybe, right? Possibly, but I also think I think teams around the league are starting to key in on Roma Dunze a lot more, and
Yeah.
and rightly so. He's been playing tremendous football,
Well,
but
that's Caleb's favorite target, so they want to try to take his
exactly.
favorite target away.
That too, and I think that's going to play into the Commanders' downfall because DJ Moore is definitely a more than capable wide receiver in this league. I think he's still got a lot of juice left
Oh
in the
yeah.
tank, so
Oh yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see what he could do. I will also say that the Bears are getting an insane amount of players back from injury
Yeah.
report, so
Yeah.
that's exciting to see. Even Colston Loveland might play. Kyler Gordon's going to be back. I think Darnell Wright should be ready. We're
Okay.
finally going to see Austin Booker play a regular season game
Okay.
this season. That's
Okay.
exciting. We're gonna
See
have
that, and
TJ.
that's a kid that I think could potentially be the pass rush edge that we have been trying to clamor about. I think he might be the one that may be able to do it instead of Dio.
Absolutely, yeah. We're I TJ Edwards is coming back this game as well. That's
Okay.
exciting. Good for the linebacker room.
So the only
Travis
person we're still
Homer.
missing is Jalen.
Oh yeah, Jalen Johnson until he gets that surgery and stuff. And Grady Jarrett is
Oh, it's still
um
out. Okay.
yeah, he's looking like he's questionable for this game, but
Okay.
an influx of players coming back from the Bears. I think it's going to be a lot of excitement, and I think an extra week for Ben Johnson to game plan and scheme against that Commanders defense is going to bear fruit.
Yeah.
I think they're going to put up a good performance. I see it being 31-17 Chicago.
All right. That's a big win. That's what
Yeah,
you got
I
projected.
think
All
it's
right.
going to be the
Cool.
statement win, kind of
Yeah.
setting
Yeah.
us in
Yeah.
the right
I get what you're
direction
saying.
for the
I
rest
get
of the
what you're saying.
season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we're gonna win. I don't necessarily know if it's gonna be 31-17, but I'm with you on the fact that we're gonna win. I said 7-10, but 31-17 would be a nice victory, and it definitely won't be the
I
same.
also want to say if I'm a Commanders fan, I am really scared for how the team is managing this Jayden Daniels situation.
Why?
And I think some of them are getting PTSD.
Why? Why you? Oh,
I
you think
don't
back
want
to like
Washington
RG3?
I don't want Washington to make this another RG3 situation because
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I saw Jayden Daniels playing that game last week. I saw him warming up before the game. That knee is not okay. It is not okay. And that's my fear that he's coming back way too soon. And he's a guy that I want to see ball in the league for years to come. This is not how you ensure that.
Yep. All
So
right. Breaking news though: the Aces won. They swept the Mercury. They won today. So
shout out the Aces.
yep.
Asia
And
Wilson gets
Asia
her
dropped
third
31.
ring. Not a surprise. how much did Jackie Young have?
I don't know. Who cares? I'm pretty sure she did well. I'm pretty sure she did well,
Yeah.
but like it just goes just circling back to what we said earlier. I mean, we're not gonna rehash it all the way through, but we kind of saw this on the wall. The writing was on the wall. The Aces won. They swept the Mercury. But I said that from the jump when the Mercury, when we talked about how the Mercury got the Liberty out on our
Yeah.
last halftime podcast episode. When I said like once the Liberty was removed, it kind of just felt like this was just the Aces to lose.
Hmm.
And if the Mercury would have made it to the WNBA Finals, it was just a Cinderella story, and they did. Great Cinderella story. They got
Absolutely.
to the
Yeah.
WNBA Finals, but they were absolutely no match for the Aces, as we see in the sweep. So congratulations to the Aces. Congratulations to Asia Wilson. I guarantee she's going to be named Finals MVP. If she isn't, I would be thoroughly shocked. But I believe that's what's
Right.
going to happen. But congratulations to them. They are officially and truly a dynasty. 3 championships out of 4 seasons. And it looks like Asia is not slowing down anytime soon, Coach.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. All right, everybody. This has been another episode of the Coach's Corner. Again, this is presented by the Halftime Podcast and the Halftime Podcast Network. This is something that we may or may not do on a consistent basis. I can't necessarily guarantee it. The Halftime Podcast is the premier show, but I do believe Coach's Corner will, be something that we could probably do in, emergency situations or when we feel like there are some things that we want to further discuss, or if we got some coaches that really want to talk to us about what they're doing or anything like that. Because again, this platform is really highlighted to just kind of build our community with other coaches and kind of let them talk about what they do and just give their takes on certain sports topics and things like that. So we'll see how much we continue to provide you more episodes of Coach's Corner, but it will not go away. I can guarantee you that. So again, this is the Coach's Corner provided by the Halftime Podcast and its network. I'm Coach Malcolm.
I'm Coach Conrad.
And as always, you know how it goes. Even if it's Coach's Corner or the Halftime Podcast, it's C Red and Bear Down, baby.
We'll see you guys.